Good afternoon. This May 17th open meeting of the COA Board of Directors is being conducted remotely consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely as so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Excuse me while I find page 2. For this meeting, COA Board of Directors is convening by Zoom as posted on the agenda of the COA Board of Directors section of town's website, identifying how the public may join. You may join us by going to http://zoom.us and enter meeting. Oh God, I forgot what that was. Meeting ID 892-6791-5752. Password 986204. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that attendees are participating by video and or telephone conference. With our meeting materials were provided to the board committee members prior to the meeting for a review or there was no material for the meeting distributed. Applicants or their representatives may be called upon to speak and if needed, share information to the screen. Please stay in attention after you've been called. Okay, so from here on in, it is necessary for Joyce because it deals with the agenda. Am I correct, Cindy?
I believe so, yeah. She does the call to order after that initial preamble.
Okay, so she's not here yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, do you want me to go on and just call the meeting to order?
What do you guys think? Are you good with that?
Vice
Sure.
chair, yeah, you know.
You're the vice chair, go for it.
and
All
she-
right.
yeah, we've got a quorum, so.
Okay. Meeting business ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Please remember to mute your phone or computer. Please use earbuds, earphones with tablets, cell phones, or cell phones. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Please be aware that video participants can see you and that you should take care not to share screen on your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. Board committee members shall be called upon in first name alphabetical order to ease the process. If the board committee members wish to engage in a colloquy with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Okay, so I guess we can proceed with, looks like it's identifying the members that are here. I don't know, I'll just call upon, it may not be in alphabetical order, but Janine,
Yes, here.
Bill DeMario,
Yes, here.
okay, Sandy Small,
Here,
and Evelyn Noyce. Here. Okay, so is Joyce here? Yeah,
No, she's not here yet.
okay. Do you want to proceed then with your report, your financial report? Or is that, I don't have the agenda in front of me, Cindy.
That's
so-
okay, I do. So the first part is to review and approve the April 20th meeting minutes.
Okay, will someone make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
I accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I believe I have to do it.
Oh.
Janine,
Yes, please.
Bill,
Yes,
Sandy,
Yes,
Evelyn, yes. Okay, what's next, Cindy?
Okay, next is the review of expenses. So Janine and I were actually talking when she came in to help with our newsletter, and we were thinking about, and I can certainly still give all of the details for the minutes, but we're wondering if you want me to just kind of group the expenses into just department expense, programs, and kind of give you a total, or if you want me to run through everything piece by piece. I did it both ways for this meeting, so it's up to you if you want me to run. It's pretty significant, but I'm happy to go through each charge, or I can just give you kind of the broad overview.
Janine, what was your,
My thought was that, as she's reading, because last one, there were quite a few and it was $4 to Staples and this to that. My thought was if we group it together and somebody wants to question something, then we could ask about it. But
Okay.
this way, it kind of slims it down for her and, skims off a little time for us.
Bill, your thoughts?
I would appreciate it if it was all done at the higher level, okay, and not the detail level. And I'm sure Sandy probably wished that in all the meeting notes that she took before that it was in the higher level, not the detail level.
I cheated the last time. I had her send me her list. I think prior to Cindy, we used to get just an overview, and I'm good with that. I mean, if we see something that's really out of the blue, we can question it. But I do think we should make sure that we pass this by Joyce. And just
Okay.
make sure she doesn't have any questions about it.
All
So
right,
we could probably move on and go through it if everybody agrees, and then when Joyce joins us, just ask what she thinks, is my vote.
Good idea.
Okay, so I'll go through the details now, and then what we can also, I'm happy to say to Joyce, is if you folks do decide that you want to just be very broad, whoever's going to do the minutes, I will send details to, and you can actually just have those in the minutes. So then if anyone wants to review them, we can do it that way too. All right, so I grouped these. My first grouping is department expenses. So I had $13.99 for Amazon, and that was for office supplies. Last month, I think you'll recall for the newsletter, I had to have a page printed. So I spent $660 at Minuteman Press for that double-sided color insert for the newsletter. $73.05 at Byfield Auto. The van was due for an oil change. $3.62 at Amazon for office supplies. $52.27 for Amazon for office supplies. And $15 to the Friends of the Newbury Council on Aging. And this was kind of a weird thing. So I had received a check I believe the check was for, so it's split into two. So the check came as one check. $25 was to go to the Council on Aging. $15 was to go to the Friends of the Newbury Council on Aging, but it came as one check instead of two separate. So I went through the town accountant to see how I was supposed to handle that. So I deposited the whole amount as a donation to the Council on Aging, but then I had to take $15 out of that and send it to the Friends. So that's what that $15 is. It was a little bit roundabout way, but it was a lovely donation from someone who we had assisted with their COVID vaccine. The next grouping of expenses is all what I've done under the Elder Services COVID Relief Grant, and they all revolve around like our take-home activity kits. So $34.97 for Amazon for sunflower germination kits. And we did air plant kits as well. And we ordered gravel that goes in. I'm going to show you a couple of photos in a minute. $17.46 Amazon for avocado slicer and whisks. $25 from Amazon for glass terrarium globes. $13.99 Amazon. There were mini watering kits that we put with the sunflower, mini watering cans, excuse me, that we put with the sunflower kits. $53.98 from Amazon. I got these 4x3 inch vinyl covers for vaccine cards. That's going to be in this coming newsletter. I'm going to let people know that if they want that. I also had got previously laminating sleeves for vaccine cards. And after I bought those, I was reading articles that said you shouldn't laminate your vaccine card because it might, something with the ink on the label. So my thought process was we can photocopy your, and I did this for myself. So just to try it out to make sure it would work. I photocopied my vaccine card, laminated that, and then I've used the little pouch for my actual card. So you should keep your original card someplace safe. And then if you need to go to the doctor's office or whatever, and you need to have your vaccine card, you could take the laminated copy. So we have a couple of options. $7.90 for another avocado slicer because I only ordered one when I meant to order two. And $66.96 for patriotic notepads, pencils, and mini American flags. That's what we're putting in this week's grab and go meal as a little gift. My next grouping of expenses is the formula grant. I requested $1,000 to put towards our bulk postage permit for the next, I'm down to like $300 in the postage permit. And usually I'm running $400 or $500. So I needed to refill that. So that'll get me through the summer. And then the other thing I did with the town accountant was we've set up a petty cash fund here. Some of the things that we've wanted to do, for example, the Stonewall kitchen kits, I can't get Stonewall to invoice the town. It's like $66 or whatever when we go. So they're not going to invoice the town and wait for 2 weeks for, $66. So we've set up a petty cash account here. So I have a total of $300 in cash. And the first 4 invoices, so to speak, receipts that I have was $65.50 for Stonewall Kitchen. That was for the kits that we're putting together. That was actually for last month's kits. $5.49 at the butchery when we had volunteers come in to assist with the newsletter. We had cream for the coffee. So we had to run over really quick and get some cream at the butchery. So it was nice to have the petty cash fund. $20 for Beach Plum Flower Shop. That was for the air plants that went in those activity kits. And $8.49 at Michael's for gift bags that we put the kits in. So let me just, if I can show you real quick, I think I can share my screen. I'll just give you an idea. Let me see if it's gonna. No, for whatever reason, I cannot show you my screen. So I will include in an email to you all just photos to give you an idea of what the kits look like. Some of them are just in a blue gift bag with some tissue paper and a little bit of ribbon. Others I've been a little bit more creative with. We're just, presentation kind of makes a big deal too when we're giving these kits out to people. So we want them to, it's a big deal for them. They can't come here and do things. So we're trying to make it fun for them. So I will make sure I send you pictures of those so you get an idea of what the air plant terrarium was. Glass globe with a little plant that does not go in dirt. It just kind of, you soak it once a week, I think, that we gave instructions on it. And we put gravel with it, and it's a nice little kit. And then this coming newsletter that we're sending out, we have a whole bunch of other kits that I put a couple together already. So I will send you photos of those. The next thing to go over is donations. Are you good with that, Evelyn, for me to move on?
Sure.
Okay. So we received a $5 cash donation from a woman. I think it's when she picked up her activity kit, or it could have very well been when she picked up her grab and go meal. She handed us $5. Previously, I was giving cash like that to the friends. That's what Maggie had told me. And then I spoke with our town accountant, who said, when people are donating cash to you, they want it to go to the Council on Aging. So to treat it as a donation to the Council on Aging. So I've now started doing that. So that was a $5 donation. And then we received the $25 donation, what I told you from before in expenses, where I had to send $15 to the friends. $25 was for the Council on Aging. And again, that was for assisting this woman and her husband with getting their COVID vaccines. She wrote a lovely card. We've gotten a lot of really nice cards, actually. People are really genuinely happy with the assistance we've given. So they're taking the time to write us a card or send us a donation. It's really nice. And the other donation I have is $69.63. And that is cash that I found here in a cash box. So I said to the town accountant, there was money here. What do I do with this? And she had no record of a previous petty cash account. So she said, treat it as a donation. So I've submitted that as a donation. So that's that. Did you guys have any questions on the expenses or on the donations? Sandy?
I just wondered if I'm to record, do you have names, the $5 and the $25 and?
Yep, sure. So the $5.
Should I record that or not?
I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I have in the past.
Okay. I mean, I record it, and then like I send thank you notes out once the donation's been accepted by the board, the select board. So I have two names if you want them.
Okay.
All right. So the $5 was Susan Gold, Gold. And the $25 was Carol is her first name. Her last name is hyphenated, by BYE dash McLeod, MACLEOD.
Okay. And then the 69.63 cash in the
That
box.
was the cash from the cash box.
Okay.
Little windfall.
Yeah.
Cindy, I have a question. Our year starts in July, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so do you have to balance out in June? I mean, do you have to have zero cash?
I was going to talk to the town accountant about that. I don't know about zero cash.
Well,
But I have to make sure I have enough funds for, I can't overspend the budget, that kind of a thing. But I don't think if I have, if I haven't gotten down to zero, I think it's okay.
it's okay. Okay. And so July 1st, it'll be the new amount for the year, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. The only thing I'd like to know is like maybe every 3 months to just have a balance.
Okay.
To know what where the account is.
Okay.
What account are you talking about, Evelyn? The petty cash?
No. The council's account.
Okay,
Like our expense account, our
Okay.
formula grant account, like all of that, all the
Right.
different accounts. Okay.
okay.
Are there any comments on Cindy's report? Okay. All right. So let's make a motion to accept the report as presented.
I actually have a bunch of other things to talk about.
Oh, sorry, Cindy.
Nope, that's okay. I just did the expenses and the
Okay.
donations. So we had our first event that the Changing Tides food truck was a horribly cold day, but I very much appreciate everyone who came out for that. It was, I think we would have had better attendance if the weather was nicer. And we do intend to do other things outdoors. So it was a good start for us, but could have been better. But thanks to the weather, it wasn't. The next thing I just wanted to touch base on was the candidate forum, which we co-sponsored with the Newburyport Daily News. We actually had a total of 81 people on that, which I didn't think was too bad. 5 were the candidates, then the moderator, our timekeeper, Matt Cooper, and myself. So if you took that out, there was 70 something people that tuned in to listen to the candidates. And then that was run on Channel 9 on cable. I believe Ethan put it on twice a day until the election day. So people had an opportunity to see, what the candidates had to say. Our June-July newsletter is going to be sent to the printer this Thursday. This is going to be our first real edition with LPI, the new printer that we're using. So it will be 12 pages. It's in color, 10 pages of content, 2 pages of ads. It'll be stapled. It's a much higher level product than what we've had. So I'm looking forward to that. Our grab and go meal is scheduled for this Wednesday. It's a Cobb salad and strawberry shortcake. We're doing, I think, 40 meals. Right now we've got 37 reserved. So we've got a few more left. Last week, all of the Council on Aging staff received CPR, defibrillator, and first aid training. So all 5 of us are now certified. That was actually a necessity for our van driver. And I thought it was wise for all of us who are here. And then Karen Everett, our Meals on Wheels driver, funny enough, has come upon people when she's been delivering meals where people have been down and she's needed to know how to react. So I thought it was wise for all of us to get certified. So we did that last week. As far as programming goes, we have a Zoom program set up for this Thursday afternoon at 1:30. It's a virtual tour of Fenway Park. We had 10 spots. We'd advertised it in the newsletter. We'd put it out on social media. We had put a flyer up over at, where did we send that? One of the 55 plus communities to try and generate some interest. And we still have 4 openings. So I don't know if any of you know someone who might be interested. It's all paid for. It's no cost to anybody, but I still have 4 spots and I'd really love to fill them. So if any of you would like to do it, or if any of you could think of somebody, it's this Thursday, the 20th at 1:30. Karen actually needs to reach out to the woman over at Fenway Park this afternoon to give her all of the emails for people so that we can get them the Zoom link. I'm not surprised. Zoom hasn't really been a huge thing. So I wasn't surprised that we didn't get a whole lot of people. That's why I only did 10 spots. I wasn't sure we would even be able to get the 10. So live and learn. I don't think Zoom is really the way for us to go. When we're doing virtual things, I think it needs to be on cable, and then we'll try and do more things in person outside. So speaking of outside, we're continuing our partnership with the Theater Workshop. That is the group of Triton students, grades 3 through 12. You may have noticed some PSAs that they're doing on Channel 9. They did one for our coffee and chat event. They've done one for the Red Sox event. They just filmed last week. 2 of the students came and they are doing a public service announcement about van services through the Council on Aging. So those run on Channel 9. These students also help us with grab and go reminder calls. So our grab and go meal is always on a Wednesday. So the Tuesday before, they will call people and just say, just a reminder, you pick up your grab and go meal tomorrow at whatever time. And they are doing at-home performances for the past, I think it's 3 weekends now. And Evelyn, I don't know if you saw the photo that was it was online over at Oak Ridge, but I think we've had some pretty good feedback on that program. So we've gone to a few people's private homes, and then we've hit Quaker Hill, Oak Ridge, and we were just at Newbury Village this past weekend. And people love it. So it's a nice little performance. Did you have any feedback from that, Evelyn?
Just that the folks that went did enjoy it.
Okay, great. The kids come, they have these big hand puppets, they do a little performance, and then they give a little gift bag to the seniors. So it's nice. We've added more virtual programs. We'll put the schedule in the newsletter again. A lot of them we're getting through Mass Access, which is, I believe that's funded through the PEG program. It's all kinds of programming that's already in this. Like, we go on to this website and we search things and we get all these options for programs that are already there. And because Newbury is a member of Mass Access, it's free to us to use. So we've put a bunch of things on. One of the things we're going to be putting on this summer is from Totally Fun Fitness. It's a fitness program. There's another one that's a Norman Rockwell program that we found on there. So there's a lot of good, it's not our primary source. We still like to go and get things that are sort of new and different. Karen reached out to the Parkinson's Foundation. They sent us something. We've reached out to Roots to Wings Yoga Studio. They're doing a new meditation program for us. Elder Services has their All Things Aging program. And this month, or actually in June, we're featuring the one that talks about the NEAT program. We have a lot of interest in NEAT. It obviously dwindled due to COVID, but hopefully getting that program out there will just remind people that it's another option. We also put that in the newsletter. So there's a bunch of different programs that we're putting on cable. As far as in-person programs for the month of June, and I am waiting for approval from the rec department. I believe they're having a meeting tonight. I wanted to do a yoga class every Wednesday morning in June, starting June 9th. So it'll be for an hour, 10 to 11 a.m. And I've requested to use Mantor Field. We have 2 canopies. I think if you were here for the coffee and chat, you saw 1 canopy was up. So we would have DPW help us put those 2 canopies up at the fields. People would come for the yoga class for an hour. We take the canopies down and they'd be done. But we're looking to do a yoga class in June and then another exercise class in July. And again, we want those to be outdoors at Mantor Field. I just need to get the approval from the rec department. We did book Bill Duke for a watercolor class on Thursday, June 24th. We are going to do that here at the Council on Aging, and we're going to set it up outside in the parking lot. I got approval from Triton to do that. My plan, though, is if it's going to be inclement weather, we've limited the class to 5 students, so we would come inside and just spread out. But here's hoping it'll be a nice day. I did order. Bill said we needed to, instead of just having easels, everyone needs to have a table and chairs. So I've actually ordered these sort of, I don't want to call them TV tables, but they're foldable, collapsible, individual size tables. So I've ordered those and chairs to go with it, 6 of them, so that I can have a setup for 6. Obviously 1 for Bill if he needs it as well. So we'll use those again to do more outdoor programming. And I used the ESMD funds to pay for that. I did reach out to PETA Hall because I wanted to see if I could use that hall for, my thought was, do we start with an indoor luncheon over at PETA Hall and have it catered? And, you know, we still have ESMV funds left. And then I have the funds from the Newburyport Society for the Relief of Aged Women. So I was thinking of doing a luncheon. They are limited to 50 people, but I could do a couple of them. I just was a little hesitant because I want to make sure that people would actually want to come. So I wanted to see how things go a little bit before I rent a hall. And they did tell me that it was $200 for a weekday rental. Half a day rental is $100. I'm not sure how I would do a half-day rental. It's something I'd have to dig a little bit deeper into with them. But at least I know it's an option, and there's parking there, and there's, you know, it's a big room, and we could have it catered. They gave me a whole list of caterers that they use there and entertainers and stuff. So they were really willing to work with us. So that's something, it's on the back burner, but something I would really like to do. And then of course we have the activity kits that we're putting together. Those went like hotcakes, the last newsletter that went out. So we've got a bunch more. And like I said, I'll send you some photos so you'll see those. And And then just to review volunteers, we had 69 volunteer hours for the month of April, and that was given by 15 volunteers. A lot of that has to do with when we have the newsletter, kind of waxes and wanes between the months that we don't have newsletter. The NEAT program, we're up and running with their scheduling software, and we're working with our volunteers to make sure they're trained on that. And we now have 12 NEAT drivers, which is an increase of 1 from last month. Newbury had something like the second highest usage of that program prior to COVID. So it's slowly coming back. Drivers have been vaccinated. They feel more comfortable. People are calling us more for medical appointments. We're taking one person to her hair salon every week using a NEAT driver. Little errands if they need to go to the pharmacy or the bank or whatever, it's an option. So it's just another way to let people know that we can help them out. And we do always put that in the newsletter. And then for transportation, we had 2 NEAT rides last month. One was to a vaccine clinic, but we've had a significant number of requests coming in for May, and several of them been to Boston. So that's not something I can use the van for. When we have something local, we will always opt to use the van as well. But when the Boston, people have appointments in Boston, we need to use NEAT. So we're working on those. And then we did take 2 individuals to medical appointments using the van last month. Flyers regarding transportation services have been posted at Oak Ridge, Quaker Hill, and Newbury Village. Like I said, the PSA was filmed on Thursday with Theater Workshop. That will be on Channel 9. So again, it'll just encourage people to call us. Nobody called us for a ride to the polls on Election Day, but it was offered in the newsletter. And I think that's it. Any questions?
Janine, do you have questions?
Nope, thank you, Cindy, very good.
Bill
No, that was great presentations.
and Sandy?
You're
I was muted. Sorry about that. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Cindy, thank you. That was an excellent report. I was wondering if you, I'm going to that meeting this Saturday on, Janine, help me out here. It's not Byfield Days. What is it? Newbury Days or something like?
Yeah,
Newbury Town Day.
Yeah. Do you want me to reserve our space for a Council on Aging booth on that day?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. We got time enough to discuss what we want to do with it, but I'm not sure what they're going to be asking at this meeting, but I'm going for another group so I can put the council's name in too.
I think I got an invitation. Is that Zoom meeting on Wednesday night?
No, it's not as, I don't think, I thought it was this coming Saturday. That's when I was going. Maybe there's,
I think you're right, Evelyn. I don't think it's a Zoom meeting. I think it's in
No.
person.
right.
Excuse me, and it's Saturday.
Okay. I didn't see that. I thought I'd got something on, I'll have to look at my email. I thought I'd got an email about a Zoom meeting.
All
for it.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
But yes, I think that'd be a great idea.
All right. Okay, if there's nothing else to discuss, will someone make a motion? We accept Cindy's excellent report.
I moved
I would
that-
make a motion. Go ahead, I second it.
I was just gonna second you, Bill.
I'd make a motion to accept Cindy's report.
Thank you. Janine,
Second,
and Janine, do you accept?
yes.
Bill,
Yes,
Sandy,
Yes.
and I accept the report as presented. Thank you. What's next on the agenda, Cindy?
Next is the review of eligibility guidelines for use of Council on Aging Elder Emergency Fund.
Okay. And Joyce is not with us yet.
No,
can I make a suggestion? Is it possible that maybe Cindy, you could have Karen try to give Joyce a phone call?
yeah,
Just
I'll be right
just to-
back.
Yeah,
Yep.
just to,
Hang on.
Totally agree, just in case. I know she has a lot of information on this, so.
Right. And she did tell me she was going to be late, or she might be late, but I didn't think it was this late, so.
I mean, the next agenda item after the Elder Emergency Fund discussion would be the survey results. And when Cindy comes back, I can certainly do that.
All right.
So we can at least
Karen's
be,
just gonna call her real quick.
great, perfect. Cindy, how about if we skip over and do the survey results?
Sounds good.
I emailed out a copy of the chart that I would be talking about today. So I'm not sure if I need to share the screen or not. If people want to, I suppose I could. But I can tell you in summary, though, I only added about no more than 10 more survey results to the list. That's all we got. Everything's been posted. And, you know, other than the total number of respondents, the different categories of what people asked for, what they liked, so on and so forth, is virtually unchanged from what it was before. Okay, I'm still willing to post more results if we get them, but I'm not sure how much more information we're going to garner if we keep doing that, but I'll gladly do it.
Okay, any comments on Bill's report?
No, but I'd like to thank him for all the work, because that was a lot, seems like a lot of work, Bill, so thank you.
Yes.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, good to see it that way, you know, so that we could actually, you know, see what was, if you will, important to whom, you know, so.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's a good tool for Cindy to use and for Karen to look at, to use in terms of what can be offered by the Council on Aging if it's something that we're not really doing just yet, but we could do it in the future. So it has value.
Sandy?
I also need to just let you folks know that Joyce was gracious enough to share the expense of printing the 2,200 copies of that survey. I mean, I had Minuteman Press do that pretty quickly so we could get it out into our newsletter right away. So Joyce and I essentially split the cost of the $200 that was required to print out those documents that were mailed out.
Oh, wow.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, big thanks to Bill and Joyce.
And Joyce said she's gonna get on momentarily. Karen
Oh,
just
good.
gave her a quick call.
Okay, Sandy, did you have anything to add to Bill's report?
Besides a huge thank you, because I would have been under lots of pressure to do that, and it would have taken me days to even figure it out. So thank you very much. And I found it very interesting that you say that it continued, the categories continued in the same patterns. So at least it reinforces what we've collected, and probably if we get a few more, that's okay, but it's not going to probably change it that much. So I think it did the job that we wanted to. So great job. Thank you very much.
Well, you're entirely welcome.
There
Okay.
she is.
Oh, good. Okay.
Hey, Joyce. No, she's got her speak. She's got her.
There she goes.
Hi, everyone. I'm here.
Hey.
How are you?
It was an ordeal. I think it could have been because she was young, but they had to keep coming back for more. The person that was looking wasn't happy with what he had.
Oh, okay.
So it turned out to be an ordeal, but here I am. How you all making out?
We're making out fine, but we're gonna, the next item on the agenda, we wanted you present to discuss with us. And that is the emergency fund. Is that correct, Cindy?
Correct. The review of eligibility guidelines for use of Council on Aging Elder Emergency Fund.
Okay, my thoughts on that on 2013, it came to a dead end. On 2016, I haven't been able to see where it ever went any further, and I don't know if Bill with his research has. So I think it's up to this board of directors and the director to come up with a confirmed protocol. And Cindy has a great idea. Have you told them, Cindy, what your plan is?
Nope.
As far as you're gonna have the book?
So I am putting together a policy manual here. There is no book of policies here at the Council on Aging. So things as simplistic as how to use the phone system here and how to set up your voicemail, to things as intricate as like the guidelines for the Elder Emergency Fund and everything in between. So that would be where we would have this particular policy located. I just need to I want to put something together so we have guidelines to go by.
Right. And so we have guidelines from previous years, and I don't know how you all feel about them, what we have so far. So we could talk about them if you think it's necessary. And we have to keep in mind that this is an emergency fund. In other words, the purpose of it was for the director of the Council on Aging. And if something comes up that's an emergency, she has the authorization to draw on up to $300. So what we had in there so far was the $300 approved by the COA director, and any additional funds up to $500 would have to be approved by a COA officer. Now, Bill may have more input on this because he also is the one that originally found some of the information that started in, I think it was 2016 in the beginning, and then he went back further and found the other letter in 2013. And they also say that there's other places to go to for money. And I got the impression that they wanted us to perhaps go there first, but then that wouldn't be money for an emergency if we were waiting for other agencies to come back with approvals. So do you want to add to that, Bill, what else you found?
Actually, Joyce, I haven't found much beyond that, to be honest.
Okay.
Okay, I know that in November, the October 17th, 2016, the minutes, the meeting minutes,
Yeah.
they were right. They talked about the other agencies. They're looking at their guidelines, the Howard Benevolent Society, Pettingill House, and the Elder Services of Merrimack Valley. But I haven't researched anything more than what I already sent out.
I have tried, but I have found there's minutes missing when I would try to move on to go further into the year to see if anything was ever done. And I couldn't find anything moving ahead. Like in 2013, there wasn't the minutes for this next meeting that they were talking about. So I don't know why they didn't get filed. And I think I also found that to some point, and it was a dead end wherever I tried to go. So, so Cindy, what are your thoughts as the director and the controller, or the hand, you actually have that money at your hands to use up to 300? Is there anything that you would like about this?
I just wanted some guidance on what to consider an emergency. And I know when Maggie was here, she had said to me, in order to use those funds, it needs to solve a problem. And it, this particular problem that I had come to you with before, the funds would have solved the problem initially,
Yeah.
I know that, this particular issue that we were talking about, there could certainly be, things down the road, but I'm wondering if there can be specific guidelines on what's considered an appropriate emergency.
Okay. Well, I'm sure there can. If we all, how about, are you in a hurry for this, Cindy? Can we wait? Why don't we all put together a list of what we consider an emergency and we'll review it?
So
next-
just to be clear, the particular issue that I came to you about, we've resolved it.
Okay,
We did resolve it. We'd reached out to the Newburyport Society for the Relief of Aged Women. We also reached out to Pettingill House. Pettingill House has an emergency fund funded by Newburyport Society for the Relief of Aged Women. So it's sort of all twisted around, but this particular issue was resolved. So we have time. So if you want, but I think it's wise for us to come up with a plan.
Right.
It doesn't seem like this is a fund that is used very frequently.
no, it's not, right,
No, when I looked back at I was looking back at the account itself to see the activity. There was a couple of taxi rides. There was, a couple of things I can't tell because they were reimbursements to Maggie. So she
Yeah.
must have paid for something
yeah,
and was reimbursed through that. I just don't know what it was, and I can't find it. So,
Nope. Are we thinking maybe more on the idea if somebody needs eyeglasses or that type of thing? I myself or hearing aids are way too expensive for us to get involved in. But eyeglasses, an emergency dental appointment. It did say in one of the minutes that Sandy was going to go talk to a dentist, not Sandy, I'm sorry.
Maggie.
Maggie was going to go talk to a dental agency in Byfield. And I remember her talking about that, but I don't have any idea how it turned out.
I think that, I can't think of her name. The director of the.
Marty Joe?
Marty Jo, yeah. I'm pretty sure that she used that dentist also, and they had some type of an agreement, whereas there was either a reduced cost or whatever. So there was definitely something there, some kind of a agreement.
Okay,
I would say too, that's something too, like, with this particular issue, I'd reached out to Janet, our outreach coordinator, and got her involved. And that would be my thought process with any of these kind of things is, go to her and try and, if we can get, some kind of a deal made for someone or, find other options for them. She's the one who kind of took this ball and ran with it and really got it resolved for us for this senior. So that would be my goal anyways, to involve outreach to see what we can do to,
I don't know all sorts of emergencies could pop up. So to have a list, and if it's not in the list, it's
right.
yeah. So should we go around and get some thoughts on this, or do you want to wait and think about it? What do you think, Janine?
Yeah, I'm unmuted. I think whatever it might be, it should be something that is a one-time fix, if you will.
Okay.
Something that's not going to be ongoing.
Yeah.
I mean, dental work could be something that's,
Right.
has a significant amount, sorry about that. That could be ongoing. So I think if we need to look at things and give a broad definition. I don't know if you want to put a whole list together.
Yeah,
Because what?
Yeah,
but like just a broad definition, I think would be good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Something, because if you start listing these items could be, we're going to miss something and somebody might read that.
Yeah.
That might not fit into that. And maybe.
I agree with you on that.
My thought too is maybe it comes to, I bring it to you folks to a meeting and say, this is what's come up. Do you feel it's appropriate for the Elder Emergency Fund? Even if it is within that $300, so we could, at least the first couple of times, so we could discuss it and see if it's
Um,
an appropriate use of the funds.
Do you really even have to go to a meeting? Couldn't it be an email if it's an emergency?
I'm fine with that.
Mhm.
Okay, and you make up the definitions of what Cindy, we were talking about as far as what determines an emergency, something like Ginny was saying, and I think you have already said it, it can be an only one-time thing.
Yeah, like Maggie had said to me, it's supposed to fix the problem.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Okay,
And
so I'll
that'll-
put something broad together.
okay. And you'll be working on the protocol for everything that's there, so people will have more to go by in the future, way down the line, because Cindy will be here for a while.
I guess my other thought would be, how much is in the fund and how does it get replenished? You
So
know,
that's
because-
funny you say that. It looked like it was donations.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people have written on there, like when people will send in a donation check, they'll say, however, this can best be used. So I just put it in the general donation fund. And I'm wondering if people have in the past, there was one initial large donation that kind of got the fund started. And then there were smaller donations, but I haven't seen donations since I've been here specifically for the Elder Emergency Fund.
Okay.
And again, I haven't seen much come out. So I can certainly share those numbers with you guys.
All right. Bill, do you have any comments at all on it?
Sure. I see that in the October 17th, 2016
Yeah.
meeting minutes, someone got eyeglasses and the payment was $368, and that was paid from the chocolate tour fund.
Yeah, that's a separate, fund.
Separate fund.
Yeah. But this is all written under the emergency, elder emergency fund category. Okay.
Yeah, maybe they would making a notation, but that's a whole
So-
different fund.
So my suggestion is, I don't think we're going to come up with a conclusive list of what qualifies and what doesn't qualify for emergency relief fund release today. I think we can take an action item that says we can collect people's thoughts and then put it together. But I also strongly suggest something else based on what I saw from the minutes. I think that anytime this board and Cindy is faced with a situation where something needs to be done or something needs to be investigated, we set up a tickler file like they did at GE when I worked. If we said we're going to have a meeting to finalize something or to issue a report, we would capture that in this one listing and say, we're going to do this by this date. And periodically at this meeting, we can review that tickler file to find out, did we indeed come up with a protocol that we said we would come up with on today? Or did we indeed set up a protocol for what the van drivers would do? I think that's an extremely valuable tool to have something in front of us to say, did we really do what we said we would do? Okay.
That's true. Cindy, that was said. Is there a van driver protocol that you know of?
I believe there is. I'll have to double check that.
Okay, be
Yeah,
interesting.
I only say that because it came up in the
I know, I see
2016 minute notes, but it just reinforces my thoughts that we all have good intentions. Don't get me wrong, but if we say we're going to do something, we should capture that thought.
Yeah.
Who's going to do it? What are they going to do? And tell me, what do you need? 2 weeks to do it? A month to do it? Let's put down June of 2021.
All right, so we need a overseer of the tickler fund, did you call it? Or the tickler
Just a particular file.
file? That sounds better. Okay, so we're gonna put that on the list. So we do have one, and if they're no longer here at some point for some reason, they can pass it on to someone else. And we can review it. at times.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, I like that. As what are your thoughts? Do you have anything to add?
Did you ask me? Oh,
I did.
okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's-
Yeah, on the, just a thought, Cindy, I know that in church, we used to have an emergency fund. And at the bottom of the, or on the back of the, not brochure, the, what do they call it, Janine? At church, they hand bulletin, thank you. There would be a notation. Donations can be made to the emergency fund. There would be little notes like that. So maybe we can put something in the bulletin, just a one-liner. We don't need to take up a lot of space on like donations to the Friends, donations to the emergency fund. And that might help us to, if somebody wants to give a donation, to identify it, you know.
Okay.
In church, we used to have fuel fund, and emergency fund. We had all kinds of funds, but so that might be an idea. And I think that when we have an emergency come before us, we need to think about, is there another agency that's designed for that purpose, and that we could send that person or help them with the application process of whatever. Because I know Pettingill House, not Pettingill House, the Aged Women, I've used them a lot to help my seniors over here with specific things.
So they actually specifically told us to go to Pettingill because by the time they knew this was an issue that needed to get resolved kind of quickly, and their board wasn't meeting until the middle of June. So they said, go to Pettingill because they have this emergency fund that we oversee. So it was still going to get funded, but just it was a quicker resolution.
Yeah. And so I think it boils down to the health and welfare of an individual that can't be met outside with other agencies.
That's a good thought.
And, you know, and this, and financial, of course, because we don't think of things that, for instance, if a person's spouse is in the hospital, parking is atrocious in Boston, in the parking garage. If you're in there all day and well, I guess if you're a patient though, you do get a break, but I'm thinking of little things like that that do add up for some individuals.
Right. And with your background, Evelyn, and what you work with every day, I'm certain you see lots of different issues pop up.
Yes.
Or they must drop in to see you and talk about it.
And I'll try to pass those on.
Yes, you do.
To Cindy with.
Yeah, I got it. All right, Sandy, how about you, hun? Do you think we're on the right track here?
Yes, I think it's important to remember that it has to fix something permanently. That's great. And I don't know how GE is working without Bill there because he's very down to earth and very sensible. So yes, I think anytime we start a project, very generally, anytime we decide we're going to do something, we should spot who's going to do it, when they're going to do it by, and report back at the next meeting. That's just common good practice for a meeting. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything done.
Right.
And I love Evelyn's ideas that, first go to another agency and that it should be health and welfare related first. So all those are good ideas, and I think we have a really good outline for setting up a policy. It's not something we can come up with in 5 minutes, so agreed, we need to think about this and jot down some notes and bring them together.
Great, sounds good. So, Cindy, did you want to ask anything else or?
Oh, I think that was good. I'll put like a rough draft of something together and email it
Okay.
out to you all, and then you can make your notes on it, on what you would like changed.
That sounds great. So did you do the review of the survey? Did you take it out of order? Okay, so now we're down to the nominations of the officers for the fiscal year of 2022. I did some research on this and tried to see other boards electing their officers, but I particularly was looking for the selectmen, but I don't know if they do that in private because I wasn't able to find a select board meeting where they did the office, you know, when the election was over, then they had a vote on who was going to do what. So I go ahead, excuse
Yeah,
me.
I watched one. I don't remember when it was, but yeah, the last election where JR was announced as,
Chairman.
chair, and then Alicia was elected. So I know they do it at their meeting.
Okay,
So
I
'cause
didn't.
I witnessed one. So
Yeah. Well, I went by what Chaz did last year because it was a Zoom meeting.
mhm.
And so there was no formality to it. He just asked outright, all right, we have 3 positions. We have the chairman of the board, the vice chair, and the secretary. And we know the secretary, we're going to definitely replace Sandy because Sandy, you know, you started doing that way back. Was it 2000? I was looking at so many minutes and I was taking the minutes at this particular meeting and you took it over. And I was so happy. So I'm not sure if it was 213.
I think it might have been 216 or 215. I'm not sure
Okay.
which.
All right, it would have probably, I'm not
I
sure.
think it was
I've been watching on.
2016.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for doing that for all these years.
Oh, you're
It's
welcome.
gonna be hard to take your place. So, all right, so I'm just going to ask people to, if they have somebody on their mind that they would like to see chairman of the board to make a nomination for them. And the voting will be at the next meeting, and then it will all be taken over by whoever are the officers for the July meeting. So I'm looking for a nomination for the chairman of the board of directors.
I nominate Joyce Macheras.
I second it.
Any others? Okay. Next is, then I'm not done with all this, the vice chairman.
I nominate Evelyn.
Okay, I'll second that. And then the secretary. Who would we nominate for secretary?
I nominate Janine Cunningham.
All right, now here comes the question. Will I accept that nomination? Yes. Evelyn, will you accept your nomination?
Yes.
Yes. And Janine, do you accept your nomination?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So there we have the board, and those are the nominations. And then for the June meeting, we'll just give our votes and then that'll be that. So that was easy. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but I need to ask a process question.
Yes.
I got a letter from the Julie, who organizes stuff for the Board of Selectmen, saying that the Board of Director for the COA team expires in June of 2021.
Right.
If I was interested, I needed to send a letter to the Board of Selectmen no later than May 27th for
Right.
them to look at to approve.
I know that was a little confusing, but yes.
So I guess my question is, the next Board of Selectmen meeting is May 25th. And sometime into June, the first meeting in June, they'll be looking at those of us who requested to be extended as part of the Board of Directors.
Right.
So, I'm not sure how we can vote until that slate of who's going to be on the board is actually approved by the select board.
Well, that's because our existing membership, that goes to June 2021.
Right.
So that covers us now that we're part of the board all through the month of June. And then
Okay.
we'll be reappointed for the next year.
Okay, and the other process question I had was this. I see in the notes from April 22nd of 2013, it says the bylaws recommend 3 members from Old Town, 3 from Plum Island, and 3 from Byfield.
Well, I can answer that. We just haven't been able to get the people. So we are lucky if we have, like from Plum Island right now, we have 2. And we don't have any from Old Town. And, oh, you are in Old Town, hon?
I'm not, yeah, I don't have a Byfield zip code and I'm kind of in the middle,
You're in Scotland Road, so
Right,
you're.
but I've always been considered Old Town.
Oh, well then
I
we have.
Yeah, although
So-
I vote now and I never did vote, but now I'm voting in Byfield. So, but
Really?
I'm in the middle.
I guess, that's interesting.
Okay, so I put together a little chart just for my own information. The 2 people from Plum Island are you, Joyce,
Yes,
and who else?
Jerry.
Okay, Jerry is not here. From Byfield, it's me. It's Evelyn
Yes,
Byfield.
yes,
Okay,
Sandy.
Sandy is
Byfield.
Byfield.
Yep.
So that's 3 from Byfield, 1 from Old Town, maybe, but I vote in Byfield, and 2 from Plum Island. So, I mean, we could certainly appeal to the select board to say, in the ideal world, we'd like to have 3 from each area, and this is the reality. We have what we have. So
Right.
maybe they could encourage people to add to the board of directors, is my point.
Yes, that would be great. And another thing, if we get that, we have the 9, then I think we can have 3-year terms, because it does say somewhere in our bylaws, I believe that the terms are for 3 years. I've read that quite a few times, but right now they're only for a year.
Okay, now let me ask another innocent question, I hope. Where would I find the bylaws?
That's not a bad question. That's a good question. And I was going to distribute the bylaws at one point, but we had to approve them at town meeting, which we just did.
Okay,
Because they weren't official. And
okay,
I didn't hand them out, but we will at this point get them handed out, because when I was giving everybody the other guidelines for the board of directors, at that same time, I talked to the board about handing out the bylaws, but where the bylaws weren't official, I did not. So I will get those bylaws to everyone.
perfect, makes sense.
And there's one other thing I want to mention before we adjourn. The next meeting, it's going to be on the agenda that the Council on Aging space as presented by Contact Architecture will be on next month's agenda for a vote on whether to move forward to the select board as the next step in this process. Go ahead, Janine.
I have a question to Bill's point about the select board reappointing us. If that happens, then do we have to be reelected in July to the positions?
No, you just have to go to the town clerk and sign the book again.
So I would have to go sign it. But I'm talking about being elected into the positions if
Oh,
we're,
that you're elected into?
yeah.
that- Evelyn, can you help me on that? I've forgotten.
I believe that we do, we have to be recorded with the town clerk. And then the next meeting, we would do our positions like you just did with the chair, vice chair, and secretary. Is that the question?
I think the question is, if you're the secretary, do you have to sign? No.
No, the question is, goes back to Bill's point.
Okay.
If we're not reappointed until July, then why are we being elected in June? Because in July, if somebody for some reason doesn't get reelected, say for me, okay? So I've been elected as secretary. If the selectmen decide they're not going to reappoint me, what happens to that position? So you're going to have to revote. It just makes it makes it a little awkward to me. I would think we'd be voting July after we've been approved by the select
Yeah.
board.
I don't know. That's just the way it's always been. And I don't know of anybody that they haven't reappointed.
Well, I don't think they
Yeah,
say no to anybody. I mean,
but
I would
it's
think-
a good point.
yeah, what Bill said made me think, I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, wait a minute.
You have a dark secret, Janine.
Uh,
You have some dark secret that's going to come out.
Other than I don't know where I live. No, I don't have a Byfield zip code, so I've always been listed as Newbury. So,
Yeah.
So
And
I-
they let you vote in Byfield.
they moved me 2 years ago.
Well, Byfield is the bad side of town, so.
Well,
You
I've
should-
always
you should've-
identified
you
with that.
Oh, gosh.
Well, so you all understand that next month we're voting on the, I had it here, right here to show you. Will you, the architect's rendering the space of the two buildings, that's all being given to the selectmen as part of the next step for them to review and see what they think should happen. Is it going to go on that site? Go ahead, Sandy.
I'm not clear on the timing. Are you going to ask us and then it goes to the selectmen, or are they,
Well, we have
are
to-
they already going to go to the selectmen?
No, it's waiting for the vote of the Council on Aging.
Okay,
Okay.
and so we're voting next month on that.
That's correct. And we're voting
Okay.
on the election of the 3 offices. And
Okay,
yeah,
Let me just try to clarify for myself.
sure.
We're really voting to say that the space needs that the Council on Aging thinks they need are met by this current plan. We're not voting to say it's going to be on the site of the old town hall.
We're
just voting-
saying that we're giving it to the selectmen and they're going to be the deciding factor. We don't know what they're going to decide on, but we're going to pass it at this point to them. And
But
put-
essentially, we're just saying this meets the space needs of the Council on Aging.
That's what I would say.
Correct.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Because
As
I know
far
there's
as
a lot of discussion in town about, alternate sites and finding different locations, and parking is an issue and all of this extraordinary stuff. So it's not a statement from the Council on Aging Board of Directors that we say it has to be at the site of the old town hall. We're just saying the architect's rendition of space meets the needs of the Council on Aging. But parking might be questionable, but
I think, and then we're going to hear their reviews, and I'm sure we're going to have a chance to talk about it again.
perfect. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on that?
No, but thanks for clarifying that, Bill.
Evelyn, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I'm going to back up a little bit here. As far as the organization, you reorganize after the vote from the selectmen. Okay, and I had a question for you, Cindy, that I forgot to ask. Usually in May, there was a volunteer luncheon. Is that in the works, or are you going to just forget it this year where we're still in COVID?
Yeah, we're gonna bypass it this year because of COVID. But there were a handful of volunteers that were very active during COVID that Janet would like to recognize. So we are working on something. Quite honestly, we wanted to do like a piece of apparel, like a fleece vest kind of a thing, and have Newbury Council on Aging volunteer embroidered on it, something like that. This would be there's something like 8 or 10 of them. That it was, instead of giving paying for a luncheon and having, a little pen or whatever, we wanted to give them something kind of significant because we can't do the luncheon at this point.
And regarding the, thank you, Cindy. And regarding the vote, will we have time for discussion on that, Joyce,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure though who's going to be that qualified to answer the questions unless we have somebody here from the select.
I meant to answer any questions regarding the language.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Oh, well, no, I have to put it on the agenda before the meeting. So I will put it together and I'll send it out and let everybody know what it's going to say.
Okay.
And
All right.
I am going to get some thought from the expansion committee on that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sandy, did you have a question?
Well, I guess you probably just answered it, but I was wondering if when we vote, can it be like voting with a condition? Like Bill said, we agree on the space, but we may not agree on the parking, or
I think
and we
it's
get a consensus of that. Pardon me?
I think that my consensus of what I've been told so far, it's as a whole, and it's up to this as a whole package, and it's up to the select to decide how they all vote, and we don't even know if it'll get passed. We don't know what's going to happen once it's there.
Okay.
So I don't know. Cindy,
Okay.
can you clarify anything that you might have heard?
I think what they do is then they take it to like the planning board to say, is the parking, going to be an issue, or is like they do the traffic study, they do all that stuff. So all you are voting on is that space. This is the amount of rooms and the way the setup is, that works for us. That's what we want. And then they'll decide where it goes.
Okay.
So I don't think it's not you know, like Bill said, it's not a, we love this in this exact building on this exact plot of land. But you're saying that this
And we
amount of
know,
space works.
we know the selectmen aren't 100% in agreement with one another also on that. So that's going to also come into play.
Right, but then it would also go before the voters. So whether if
That's
if
the
you say
basic.
you like it and then it goes to the board of the select board and they say, okay, we like it, and it goes to the voters, it could get quashed
Yeah.
or it could get passed.
Yeah, or they might say, okay, we can build this type of building that meets the space needs of the Council on Aging someplace else, okay? And have town hall be someplace else. And I mean, that's what could possibly happen, but
Right.
we have to wait and see.
And hope everybody has good judgment. So.
Can I just
All right.
ask one more question before you adjourn? Did you
Sure.
want me to put in the newsletter that you're looking for more board members? If you're interested, you want me to like put a little shout out for that? Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you can say it, but no offense to Bill, but I'd like to see a couple more guys. I mean, we have very little input, you know, with one person representing the male, you know, species of Newbury. So, you know what I mean?
I know, I
you
feel bad at some of these meetings Bill
Right.
comes to, and he's the only man there, and I say, oh my God, poor Bill.
But I think it's great. I'm so glad he joined
I
us.
know.
Because, you know, I mean, somebody has to speak for their, you know, for their needs, and I, you know, I don't think we always see that, but, you know,
I think Cindy had a good idea. It's a good idea to cast out the net to try
Yeah.
to get more fish. And if
Yeah.
some of them are males, then okay, we'll see.
All right, so if everybody's ready, we can adjourn the meeting.
Oh, we're not ready. We're not ready.
Okay.
I have one more thing, a couple things.
Oh, that's good. I like to
On,
hear that.
in 2016, I noticed on the agenda, it said report of friends. And I think the friends of the Council on Agents there's a COA friends. Debbie said we're not too active last year. She intends to reinvigorate that. And I'm not proposing that someone present a report from the friends every time we have a meeting, but it may be a good idea to put a little bit of focus on them, because the friends could be a source of money that could end up, because they are donations, could end up in the emergency relief fund. And if we ask them to report once in a while, like they did in 2016, it might give a little bit more focus. Let's really get formalized and have a list of friends that are more than 3 or 4 people, which I think is what we currently have.
It's 3. So I meet with them once a month. And I believe my meeting is next Tuesday morning. We meet at 7 a.m. on Tuesday mornings. I think it's the last Tuesday of the month.
Okay.
And I'm there also, Bill.
Yep.
And you're right. There used to be the Friends report as part of the when we meet together, there was the report from the Friends. So maybe we'll check into that a little bit more. I'll look back and see if back that was on the agendas.
Okay,
Maybe
great.
even quarterly, you know, that doesn't, like Bill said, maybe not every month, but quarterly or at least.
Yeah.
And you're
Right.
looking for a financial report?
I'm not sure.
Know if they want us to publish the financial report or if that's okay. I think that's a good question.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just remember reading in the Newburyport Daily News, there was a big write-up about the Friends in Newburyport and what they did, and
Oh,
20
I know.
years of continued support and so on and so forth. And I think it's a good example to hold up to the Friends in Newbury.
I read that also, and I was so impressed by the chairman. And they had a lot to do with the construction of raising funds. And we can't raise funds.
But they can.
but the Friends can, and they raised funds to help with that.
Yeah, so, I mean, it could develop into something that could help the Friends grow and help the Council on Aging grow as well. And the
And-
last thing I have is, okay, I'm gonna put some people on the hook right now.
That's okay.
Joyce,
Yes,
you said you were gonna send out the bylaws.
yes, I am.
When do you think you might do that?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think what I'm gonna do, rather than send them, I'm gonna drop them in the mailboxes.
Okay.
Because I'm not good of scanning and all that.
Okay,
And first of all, I have to find my bylaws. I know they're in a folder here. So let's say within 2 weeks.
okay, 2 weeks. Got it.
Yes, I'll follow
Okay.
through.
Okay. How about before we vote at the next Board of Directors meeting about space for the Council on Aging facility, will you be sending us something before that meeting?
I think you have everything.
It's
I'll
what-
send you the link as to what it's going to say on the agenda.
Okay, okay.
But
Okay.
as far as, do you have the?
Do you want
three-
the drawings again? Is that what you're looking for, Bill?
No, I think what the answer is, it's the same thing that we looked at before.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
So you
okay,
have,
that's, I have that, that's fine.
Do you have it, Janine? Because I can send it again.
You sent us the early ones. We've only seen the double building one. You know, you shared the screen with us. Is there any way we could get?
Oh, I didn't actually send it. Okay, so let me
Yeah.
send it with you.
Yeah,
So you might have to send that to me too, Cindy, then.
Yep, no problem. I'll send it to all of you.
Okay, good. When might you do that?
I can do that this afternoon.
Okay, so that would be May 17th. Okay. And Cindy, you're gonna put a rough draft together for the Elder Emergency Fund, some kind of thoughts.
Yeah, give me a week on that one, Bill. So by next Monday.
I hate to do this to you, but
oh,
No, it's good to
No.
have a deadline because if you don't have a deadline, it keeps getting pushed back.
yeah,
now I'll tell you my other secret from GE. That my manager's secretary had an accordion file that had 30 slots for each day of the month. And I used to call her up and try to bribe her to say, can you change the date from when I was supposed to do something from this to that? So
Are you saying you're open to bribes then?
no, I'm not. I'm just, it just put a lot of pressure on me to make
Yeah.
sure I responded when I said I'd do it. That's all.
Yeah.
So we'll have fun with this. That's all.
One of the committees,
It's meant to help.
exactly.
It
One of
does,
the
it
committees
does.
that I'm on, we call it a parking lot list. And we print the parking lot list in the minutes of every meeting so that people, oh yeah, that's right. We have this, we had this, you know. So
Oh, that's
it's always an ongoing, you know, and it's
Oh,
in your
Sandy,
face.
Sandy, you might get an email from me with a little chart.
No problem.
and then as it'll get smaller and smaller as we do everything.
That's
Or
right.
add
That's
to,
right.
you know, or
Yeah.
add
The
to
idea.
as we, yeah,
Run out of paper.
yeah.
That's the idea.
Oh, well, thank you all. Now can I adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, okay. I have to get a roll call vote, unfortunately.
Okay.
Janine,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Evelyn,
Yes.
Sandra,
Yes, and
and Joyce,
you need
yes.
to, you need to set the date for the next meeting.
Oh, I just looked at that. Now it's gone. Okay, it will be June 21st. As long as it's not a holiday. I don't
Oh.
think it,
That's good.
okay, thank you.
Bye now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you all.
Be well.